I would like to invite Bril Barrett to the front. From Chicago, Illinois, a tap dancer who learned from 20th century legends of tap, including Dr. Jimmy Slide, Dr. Bunny Briggs, Dr. Leonard Reed, and his mentor, Mr. Taps. A teacher and co-founder of Mad Rhythms, short for Making a Difference Dancing Rhythms Organization, where he helps young people grow through the art of tap. A historian and storyteller who uses tap to share the struggles and victories of generations past and present. In recognition of his contribution to the legacy of Black tap dance, the National Endowment for the Arts honors Bril Barrett.
You're welcome to that.
Next slide.
We could never afford chains where I'm from, but guess what? I'm going back rocking something real nice. How y'all feeling today? Y'all good? All right, I brought notes up here with me too. I just put them on my phone. I'm trying to be all high tech. So I want to start off by thanking, of course, the Creator. Without connection to the Creator, let me say this. I say to people all the time that tap is my religion. And I said it in a church one time. And it's the first time I ever heard the word blasphemy. I did not even know what it meant at the time. But when I further explained that improvisation is when you make it up as you go along. It's when your thoughts, your process, your ideas, if you had a bad day, your emotions, all those things go into creating your art. But if you ask me where the steps come from, I can't tell you because I don't make them up. Technique has taught me, my teachers, everybody has taught me technique and execution. But where the creative, rhythmic ideas come from, to me, that's a direct connection to God. So when I say tap is my religion, it is just that I'm saying tap is how I access the greater force that has made all this possible. So I got that out. Okay. So of course I want to thank the Creator. I want to thank my mom who made it all possible. See, you talk about your mom and then it's gone. I said I wasn't going to cry. I was like, real G's cry. Real G's cry. But my mom, single mom, west side of Chicago my whole life. But she made sure that when I showed her I had a love and appreciation for something, which was tap. Out of everything I studied, everything, she was doing like most moms, just keep me busy to keep me out of trouble. And it worked for the most part. But she was just doing what she had to do. And when I was exposed to tap, I fell in love with it. I fell in love with theater, arts, creativity, everything. But tap was the thing that as I did it more and more, I wanted to do nothing else. And I remember at a time when I was in a program at the Better Boys Foundation, which is called the BBF Arts Center now, west side of Chicago, my neighborhood, North Lawndale. It is where we went to stay out of trouble pretty much. I was there when I wasn't in school, I was at the center. But I remember the tap teacher, I didn't know what a contracted or subcontract program was. The tap teacher was only there for a certain amount of time. So when that tap teacher's contract was up, that was Mr. Carlton Smith, he left. and went back to wherever he was teaching normally. And I told my mom, I want to keep tapping. And she was like, well, it's not here anymore, and it's not free, and I can't afford it. And so I said, but I really want to keep doing it. And so every Saturday we would get on the trains in Chicago. It took 2 hours to get from the west side of Chicago where I live to the north side where Mr. Carlton Smith was teaching his classes. And it didn't even dawn on me that she had already told me she couldn't afford it, but we were still going. And so that's right. I saw her giving, counting out $5. And change to pay the small amount he asked. And because of that, I could do this. And because of that, I know that I have a responsibility to do it for those that come after me. Sometimes people ask me, why do you choose? I didn't choose. It was laid out for me. It was done for me. I have to do it in return. I started Mad Rhythms in 2001, making a difference dancing rhythms as literally my way to give back through the art form of tap. And for 23 years now, that organization has been running loud and proud. I didn't know what I was doing. Mind you, no, I did not go to school for this. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew that I had to do this. And so through a lot of trials and tribulations, I don't have to go into all that. Y'all don't need no more tears. But through a lot of stuff that transpired, I could always see the light at the other end because of tap dance, because of what it allowed. It allowed me to come out of my neighborhood. It allowed me to meet Mr. Taps, who was the gentleman who became my mentor. It allowed me to perform in the subways of Chicago at 8 and 9 years old for people who I'd never met. It was some of the first times I got to really interact with people outside of my community, and I learned to entertain and to talk to people and get to know people, and all those things because of tap dance, but also because people saw in me and lent a helping hand, shared the knowledge. Sometimes when people get rich, we want to ask them how they got their money. We want to ask for money, but sometimes you should just ask, would you share your story with me? Started meeting a lot of the great tap dancers through history. I met Dr. Jimmy Slide, one of the greats. Dr. Leonard Reed, one of the greats. Dr. Jenny Lagon, one of the greats. And every last one of them shared with me. I learned more sitting at their feet listening than I could ever have learned in a dance studio or a classroom with them. So if you do whatever you do and you love it and young people ever ask you about it, share. Share. All those stories stick with us. And then as we come up, we start to repeat those stories. So I want to really thank Yul Ilea Stites, better known as Yaz, who nominated me, someone who worked with me and saw that I was worth nominating. I want to thank Aunt Diane. The world may know her as Diane Walker, but she's my aunt. I mean, not really, but yes. Tap aunt, however you want to say, play cuz, you know how that thing go. But one of the leading tap dancers in the field. And so when asked for a recommendation letter to write to me, she wrote it. And for me, the honor was even the yes. Lisa Latouche, another tap dancer from Canada, who I met when she was like 11 years old, and I was touring with Riverdance, and I was teaching workshops, and this young lady took my workshop. And at that time, there was not a tap scene in Canada. And so together we started Mad Rhythms Canada. because I was like, I don't have to just do this for the people here. I can do this for people I meet anywhere. I was going to start Mad Rhythms Germany. I was going to start, like anywhere I traveled, I was willing to start a company to share and keep this standard of excellence alive and accessible to people where they were. Mark Yonley, a Chicago tap dancer, who also wrote a recommendation for me, and in his own right, running his own company, his own non-for-profit, took the time. So I'm a firm believer in honoring people for taking time. Of course, when we have money, we can give, but sometimes when you don't, all you have is your time. And when you give that, it's even more valuable. It's more precious. My sister, Star Dixon, she was tap dancing she say I made her tap dance before she learned to walk. I don't think that's the way it happened. But she is also the reason when I started Mad Rhythms as a volunteer organization to serve young black boys who look like me and were from my neighborhood and who came up in situations like me. It's my little sister that said, how come it got to be all boys? And so what did I tell her? I said, welcome. Because Andrew Carr, who's one of the youngsters, you know you get old when you say youngsters, I just want to say that. One of the youngsters who I taught coming up, he had been a student at the Mad Rhythms Tap Academy since he was like 4 years old. He's now a professional tap dancer, just like my sister Star Dixon is. She travels the world. He is right now about to debut his very own show. At 19 years old, he wrote, produced, created, did all the choreography at 19 years old, and that show is going to debut almost 2 weeks from now. And so he also took the time to write a recommendation for me. And of course, I want to, last but not least, thank Jimalita Tillman, who's the Executive Global Director of the Harold Washington Cultural Center in Chicago, which has been the home for me and Mad Rhythms for the last 14 years. And when I went, I don't, sometimes when you go to people and tell them what your visions are, if they can't see them, they'll tell you it's not possible. So it's very rare that you find people in your life that when you share your vision, they say, I see your vision and I want to help you reach your vision. So Mad Rhythms has been headquartered in Bronzeville in Chicago at the Harold Washington Cultural Center for the last 14 years, and it has been one of the best partnerships and artistic collaborations that one could ever ask for. I'm a firm believer that if you're not doing anything to solve the problem, stop complaining. I know that we got problems in Chicago, trust me. I see the same news y'all do. But the difference is I see the same news y'all do, but I also live in the city. And I see those young people wanting something, needing something, wishing anybody would just take a bag of change and take them to a class. So at my studio, we have a wall of tap shoes, 2 walls now, that all the shoes are donated by the community, anybody who wants to donate. And every kid that comes in, whether they can afford it or not, they get tap shoes. And that little gesture says, what you can't afford will not stop you from what you can become. So I'd like to thank you all. I'm appreciative, I'm mad appreciative, get it? See what I did there? Of this award. And a lot of times it's not easy for us that do what we do to take this attention for it, because we do it because we love it and we're called to it. So I just thank you all. I thank the NEA for taking a moment and recognizing what I do and that I'm going to continue to do it. Thank you.